exist in a cold, cold world, but it's hot out here. It's the reason why we living in fear. I could die from the pole lie, that ain't no lie. I done seen death up close with my own eyes. Try to say goodbye, but the spirit still live on. This a cry for help, you can hear it in this song. Better days are coming, cause the sun will still come up. When it's time for you to see me, I'll be there when you run up. Keep running. Be sure what you hope for, and certain of what you don't see. Have faith, listen to me. I said be sure of what you hope for, and certain of what you don't see. Have faith, listen to me. I said listen to me, you gotta listen to me. I said listen to me, you gotta listen. Listen to me, I said listen to me. I said listen to me, you gotta listen. Be sure of what you hope for, and certain of what you don't see. Have faith, listen to me. I said be sure of what you hope for, and certain of what you don't see. Have faith, listen to me. I said listen to me, you gotta listen to me. I said listen to me, you gotta listen.
All right, so let's actually start this show. My name is Jason, guys. I am a brand identity designer by profession. I also have this podcast which I do regularly live on LinkedIn audio every Wednesday at 12 Eastern Standard Time. The name of the podcast is also Brand Identity Design. And the subject matter which we are primarily focusing on, and this I call this as like a series. The series is called as the dark side of entrepreneurship. Now, there is nothing really dark about what we speak. It's just a catchy phrase, and I thought it had a nice hook. It will make people curious to know what exactly it is, and I rolled with it. So the aim of the show is to educate entrepreneurs about business, share ideas, recommend strategies on how to deal with adversities while running their business. And I do this by interviewing high-level business executives who are willing to share their personal and professional experiences with my listeners. Now, just in case if you're new, I just want to give you a heads up that my podcast is heard in over 23 countries and currently ranks on Spotify at the top 30% most followed podcast in the business category. Not only that, additionally, I recently won the Anchor Spotlight Awards by Spotify for the month of January 2023, recognizing its excellence, my show's excellence and contribution to the podcasting industry. I assure you, this would not be just another boring business talk show. We will be injecting a healthy dose of humor, personality to the mix, and you will be learning quite a lot about entrepreneurship. So sit back, relax, have your beverage with you, get ready to laugh and learn with us. I'd like to make a few announcements before we start the show. The first announcement which I have to make is that I have partnered, my podcast has partnered with Speaker Express in the UK. So if you remember, just 2 weeks back, I had interviewed an individual on my show. It's a very good friend now. His name is Elliot K. So I have partnered with his company called Speaker Express. And we have, he has an alert service. It notifies people about speaking opportunities across the globe. Some of them are paid and some of them are unpaid. And what we have done is that we have come up with this alert notification, which is around $10 a month. I do make a commission out of this. So I'm going to quickly play that ad because he's sponsoring this show. Hear it out. Try to take advantage of this if you feel, if you're into the speaking game and if you want to actually make money out of it. I think it's a good opportunity to get notified what's happening around the world. So shout out to my sponsor, Elliot K.
Do you want speaking opportunities delivered to your inbox daily? Do you want to cut out all that time searching for speaking opportunities so you can simply apply and spread your message globally? If you've answered yes to any of those questions, join the Gig Getters Alert Service today, where we'll email you speaking opportunities, virtual or live, from across the world so you can apply, you can be seen, you can get paid to speak today. Join the Gig Getters Alert service today so we can support you to not only be a great speaker, but to speak your greatness and spread your message globally. Join us today.
Awesome, awesome. So that's Elliot K. And if you would like to find information about the affiliate link, you should be able to be look this up under the event comments. It's the pre-roll sponsored ad section under the event comments. You should be able to find it. Please take advantage of this. The subscription costs around £9.99 a month, but you get notified daily. And I personally endorse it because I like the individual and I like what his business is doing. Another reason why we play ads on the show is because we want to compensate some of the cost, which is incurred to run a podcast. My expenditure for running one episode is around $150 roughly, considering the time, investment, and resources which are used to make this happen, even if it's audio. So sponsorship helps us to reduce the cost. Now, let me not take too much of your time. Let's deep dive into this conversation, which you guys are here for. So today, we would be speaking about using two-word branding to hook your audience with Phyllis. So I want to thank each and everybody here listening to us, this captivating discussion we are having with our renowned branding expert and strategist, Phyllis. You will be gaining a lot of valuable insight and leverage about two-word brand to capture your listeners' attention and endorse your business brand. So we will help you to understand and impact. We will help you to understand the impact of personal branding on your business success and how you can elevate your branding game to the next level. So I want to welcome Phyllis to the Brand Identity Design podcast. I wish I had a sound effect, but let's go natural. So I'm going to clap. Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you so much for joining this conversation. And we appreciate you being here.
Okay, sorry. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to chime in yet or not, sweetie. I'm so excited. This is going to be so much fun, and I can't wait to meet the challenge and let you hear the challenge that you gave me. Come back and bite you in the butt.
All right, so we have like a special challenge for everybody who is listening to us live on LinkedIn. We're challenging you to come up with the two-word brand for your business, like for your company. Okay. And I know it would be challenging for you to figure it out right away. So let's go ahead with the conversation. I'm going to ask Phyllis questions about what is this two-word branding all about. She's going to give you insights and details. And when we start Q&A, which is around 40 minutes or so from now, you are allowed to come up on stage and share with us why you feel those are the two words associated to your brand. Phyllis, I think that's a good idea, right? I think we should go ahead with that.
Yes, let's. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Oh, lovely, lovely. I would encourage everybody to follow Phyllis as well as myself because she's a renowned branding strategist. I love her to death because she has a very, very unique and very transformative approach when it comes to not only speaking to individuals but also coaching and just training them strategically how to do branding. She's the founder of the Brandma House, her business, Brandma House, and she has helped countless clients to develop and scale their personal brands, guiding them to brand infancy to leadership. She's also the author of a book called Balance is Bullshit and the host of a popular podcast called Brandma's House, where she shares insights and practical tips on branding, marketing, business growth, tons of other things. She's also built a successful multi-million-dollar food business with 2 restaurants and a catering company. Despite never having a passion for cooking, she discovered her talent for branding and decided to pursue it full time. And I'm going to be deep diving there and asking you more questions about that. So let's get into this conversation, Phyllis. So the first question which I want to ask you, and this is something very personal, because I was watching a lot of content which was out there on YouTube and even on podcasts, and I specifically heard you saying something about business owners should actually move away from traditional elevator pitches and to communicate their value proposition. Now, I find it really disturbing because we've been encouraging people to come up with short, simple, easy to way communicate and have elevator pitches around. So, would you mind helping my audience and listeners understand why you said that and why do you feel that's not the right way?
Yeah. With elevator pitches, a lot of people are discovering that they have imposter syndrome or they feel like they're selling themselves and so forth. And if you have, like, when we get into this whole two-word brand hook kind of deal, if you have a two-word brand hook, then it causes a natural conversation versus you having to pull an elevator pitch out of your ass every time someone walks up to you. Oh, what do you do? And here comes that dry ass pitch. It is old, it is played out, it is stale because it's so remembered. Even it doesn't even excite you anymore. So to have an elevator pitch that does nothing for you but just spits out like, okay, give me a card, let me go on about my business. You need to find a different way to do that. So elevator pitches, save that shit and write it down on your website or something like that if you just have to have it. But it's about having a natural conversation. And if your two-word brand hooks somebody, it turns into a natural conversation of, you know what, let me get you into this web of whatever I got going on over here. So it hits different. I don't see the need for elevator pitches anymore, especially when you're a business of one and you're talking from your personal brand perspective. You are your own best endorser. And instead of going out here hiring endorsers and influencers, baby, learn how to endorse your own shit. You endorse everybody else's. So being able to do it for yourself should be a whole lot easier because you love your business and you love yourself. Hell, why not? That would be my 2 cents on it.
Have that natural conversation, and if you have elevator pitches, just publish it on your website. Some great tips. All right, all right. I want to actually give a shout out to some of my lovely friends down there in the audience. Leslie being one of them. I see Elaine, who is gonna be, a guest on my show very soon. We're gonna speak about real estate. I see Sharon is also a very close friend, and she has been referred to me by Mildred. Shout out to Mildred and Sharon. It's gonna be a lovely show which I'm gonna be having with you in the next few months. And I see Heather, who I just met recently. She is also pretty cool. So I love you guys. And a shout out to the Future Pro group, actually, because Future Pro group has really, along with Christo and the entire Future team, has really helped creative professionals like myself and many others try to understand how to run a business as a freelancer and how to get gigs, and not gigs, like opportunities, scale, multiply, stuff like that. So I love you all. Thank you so much for your love and support. Thank you for all the listeners who are actually listening to this conversation. Now, my actual question, next question to you, Phyllis, is that you had a very impressive background as a successful entrepreneur. You owned a multi-million-dollar food business. It is a huge challenge just to build one. You had
Yes.
two restaurants and a catering company. You could have survived till death. Just just maintaining that. Now, why did you transition and decide to specialize in branding and brand strategy? What was your calling like? Why did you take such a bold step?
Oh my God, because I don't cook on purpose. I never have. I before I met my husband, I cooked because I was hungry. But outside of that, I don't cook on purpose. Cooking and food is my husband's love language. He does the cooking at home. He was the cook at the restaurant, except when he had to go off and do TV stuff. He's the one that grocery shops. He bitches about doing the dishes, but if he didn't leave the kitchen so dirty, I would do the dishes for him. But he's just a messy ass cook. But it was always his thing. It was never my thing. But the how I ended up getting pulled away from it was because in order to expose our restaurant or to create more brand awareness around our restaurant, I started doing a lot of networking and visiting. I started doing public speaking, and I started speaking at high schools. And I was looking at these children, and it's like some of these babies could start businesses right now. And yes, I'm advocating for teen businesses and all that kind of stuff. But some of these babies can start businesses right now, but because they're so discouraged, oh, stay in school, stay a kid. But we have no problem telling kids to go be actors and go be models, but we won't tell them how to turn their gift, talents, and abilities into a some type of money making opportunity. So all of these different things that I was doing to bring more of what I needed to know to run the restaurant business was actually what pulled me away from it. And I quit and I fired myself multiple times before I actually really meant it. But it wasn't an easy decision because me and my husband started this business together. We have been partners in it for 10 years. And I love my husband. I like him a whole lot. So my thing was, baby, let me go sit over here and be married to you, but not be in business with you. And we've always been very supportive. So when he said, okay, go do your thing, I got this. But then when I started to do other things to advance in that, I said, well, baby, I think I want to start traveling. I said, what you going to do? He said, baby, I'm going to roll with you. So it was such a quick decision that we made the decision in June, put our house on the market. We announced that our last day would be July 3rd. By August, we had packed up our shit and moved to Oregon. It happened that quickly. And it was also, he was supporting me in pursuing my career then as a business coach. And getting into business coaching is what pulled me towards branding, because I started to understand, like, we make millions, but I understand now, and as I got educated, how many millions we left on the table by not having a brand. We did have no, we did have a brand, I'm sorry, but I wasn't using it properly. We had personal brands back then. I was Mrs. Mister. He was Big Mister. We even named our daughter Mini Mister. She was a 10% owner in our company as well. So there was all of this personal branding, but we were not using it effectively, nor were we marketing our business brand effectively. But I will never open another restaurant on purpose. I would probably invest in one. But oh my God, anybody down there that does food, y'all got my whole ass blessing, because I would not do that again for nobody. And
the,
so
so this
that's
is,
my story, and I'm
oh
sticking
my
to
god,
it.
oh my god. And I like the fact that you were so impromptu, like, decided to put the house on the market in June, moved to Oregon in July, decided to jump into the coaching business, and eventually you figured out branding could be a nice way not only to educate people, but also, help you, land some nice opportunities, train people, have a purpose driven life. So this is pretty cool. I like
Yes,
this. I like
yes.
this a lot, Phyllis. So let's actually, get into the meat and the juicy side of our whole interview. So in a nutshell, in plain, simple, easy to understand manner, can you explain us
Mm.
what the hell is two-word branding and why it is important for entrepreneurs to use it and to capture people's attention?
All right. So I actually picked up tour branding from Chris Doe when from the pro group. It was something that he a call that he did once, and I just kind of took hold of it, and it just became so much a part of what I do that I don't know why everybody doesn't do it. Now, two-word branding starts off as a descriptor. And what a lot of people try to do, and myself included, what I try to do is I try to get people to remember my name. Phyllis Strawder, Phyllis Williams-Strawder, whatever. And certain people, they forget you as soon as they meet you. It's not personal or anything like that. It's like, baby, I meet people all day, every day. I cannot keep up with all the names. And trying to carry around business cards became an old thing. So now everybody has electric business cards or e-cards or whatever you want to call it. But having a two-word brand or having a two-word descriptor is what sets off the conversation. It is what hook people. When I first used my original excuse me, my original two-word brand is Ghetto Country. And I would tell people I'm Ghetto Country. I was raised hood adjacent by a country mama. And that was how I introduced myself. But the more I got into branding, all of a sudden I switched from Ghetto Country to Ghetto Country Grandmother, because I've always been that nurturing individual, even though it sounds violent as hell. But it's that type of thing that, you know what, I can do this. And it doesn't depend on Phyllis to do something. It depends on the Ghetto Country Grandmother. And I don't believe in you are your brand. Anybody want to get pissed off now, because I don't believe in that shit. I am not my brand. I am not my business. I'm a fucking person. And so when I understood that, it was a lot easier for me to endorse my business. Ghetto Country Grandmother endorses Brandma's house. I don't have to. Phyllis does not have to sell herself, pimp herself out, or do any of that shit. My personal brand endorses my business brand. I'm the expert, it's the vendor, and we get to maintain our roles. But then when I'm done being the Ghetto Country Grandmother, I can go sit my ass down, have a drink with my husband, talk to my daughter, do all the things, still be a friend, a daughter, a sister, or whatever I need to be in that moment. Because one of the things I learned, some of the hard lessons I learned in my previous business as Mrs. Mister, I never took that bitch off. She went with me everywhere to the point of getting in bed with me with my computer. I had a hard time separating myself from it. And then other people did as well, because they only ever saw me as what I did, not as who I was or who I am now. It's like, oh, there go Mrs. Mister. You doing barbecue today? Do I look like I'm doing some damn barbecue? I am out here trying to live my life, and all you see is, you know what? There's no smoke. There's really not. So getting to the understanding of separating my who from my do was very important to me as I began to grow this brand as a ghetto country grandmother. Explaining to people that having a two-word brand that fits you, that you can put a story behind, that also aligns with who you're trying to attach to as an audience. Being a mother, I tell people, my daughter's 15, but I was a mother long before I had my daughter, because I've always had that mothering protective vibe. And so saying that I'm that empathic, because I forgot to mention, empathic bitch is my other two-word brand, because it speaks to how I work. But having that nurturing vibe in me, it speaks to the grandmother. And so now going out having conversations, somebody's like, "What you do?" "Oh, sweetie, I'm the ghetto country grandmother." Well, what does that mean? That means I'm an empathic bitch that nurtures solopreneurs into becoming going from brand babies to brand leaders. And so that is something more memorable than saying I'm Phyllis Williams-Strawder and I'm a brand strategist. And because I feel what I do goes deeper than brand strategy, it works for me. And so struggling to get people to remember me, or struggling to start a conversation as the self-conscious individual that I am, is hard as hell. I am socially awkward because I am 6'1", I'm black, and I am not small. So walking into a room with all these short ass people, and everybody's shorter than me, would cause anxiety. But now, and mind you, I've never had problem wearing heels. I will put on 3-inch heels in a heartbeat. But that's different when I'm being social. When I'm trying to have a conversation on somebody that I have to look down on about business, it hits me different. And so my anxiety kicks up. But now when I walk in as a ghetto country grandmother, and I might have my cigar in my hand and doing my thing, oh, I am all the things. And it's a lot more comfortable for me. I don't have to depend on my socially awkward Phyllis to try and work a room or to carry a conversation. I can walk up, "Hey, sweetie, how are you?" and do my thing. And once I'm done, I'm done. And when I get back in the car, I'm back to being socially awkward. Don't talk to me no more, because I probably won't know how to act.
That's so
But
cool.
it's a whole ass situation for me.
I'm just wondering, Phyllis. Okay, so Gato Country brand mother itself is so unique. Like, I remember it
Mm-hmm.
spot on. Okay, even
Uh-huh.
more than your name. Okay, and then you have this
Yes.
empathic bitch. Okay, so is there a reason, because it was already so long, Gato Country brand mother was already so long, then why did you
Mm-hmm.
add more words to it? What was the idea? Is it like
Because
giving people an option to choose between either or?
no, it's not an option to choose. The empathic bitch came later, and it goes back to being the descriptor of who the ghetto country grandmother is. Being that empathic bitch is mean I have a whole lot of heart, and I will give away shit so freely that I have to turn into a bitch in order to stop myself. So when people come and like, "Oh, can you help me?" or "Can I have this?" or "Can I have that?" Me, Phyllis, if not for my husband stopping me or something like that, I would give it all away. Hell, people actually ask, "What would you do this if you weren't getting paid?" If I was already rich, hell, fucking yeah, I would. But to be that empathic bitch, sweetie, I have to say no. I have to say no to you asking me to discount my prices. I have to say no to you asking me for more than what I offered you. I have to say no to trying to have big numbers. I'm not trying to have 10 and 20,000 followers, but I am trying to have a few good ones that, you know what, because I know how thin I want to spread myself. So the empathic bitch is, sweetie, I care a whole lot until I don't give a fuck anymore. And so it leads to that description of when you get the ghetto country grandmother, she loves you all this much. But you know what? There comes a time where the bitch will kick in, and she gonna either kick your ass or kick you out. One of the two. So it just furthers the description and carries the conversation deeper when people say, "Well, why you call yourself an empathic bitch?" Some people can't even bring themselves to say it. "I'm not gonna call you a bitch. I wouldn't do it to Phyllis, but you can do it to the ghetto country grandmother."
Oh shit. Guys, if you're enjoying the conversation, please give us a heart emoji just to showcase, Phyllis, that you are liking what you're hearing. And I know we are using some tough words and those kind of words which you generally don't hear on LinkedIn. But trust me, this is what I like about Phyllis, because she's open and she's just being herself, and this is what I like. Guys, if you have questions, please park those questions. We have not started Q&A yet. So continue, Phyllis. So help people understand, like, because we gave them a task, right? We want them to
Mm-hmm.
figure out their two words. What would be a nice way of assessing their existing brand and coming up with those two words? We have to give them few resources how to figure this out. So guide us.
Okay, so one of the things that I have on my website, people can download what I call my two-word branding kit. I don't use it anymore per se for my clients, but I put it out there as a way for people to start the process, because you have to do three things. One thing you have to understand is, like, what do you want to be famous for? That's one thing. Two, where do you want to be invited? And three, it's like, who do you want to invite you? Because we have all these notions of personal branding as me being the face and the thing, and yeah, it's that, but it goes deeper when you talk about putting a name on it. So if you understand that you want to be invited to this place, you want to have this thing, and you want to be known for that other thing, sweetie, it brings something to light of, like, what's deep in me. If I strip away all the titles, if I'm never known as the ghetto country grandmother, if I'm never known as Phyllis, I am still empathic. That does not die. So it's if you're going to do this thing, do it from a deeper place other than trying to be clever and gimmicky. And then you want to list all these different words that describe you: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Do not skip the ugly. So, because that is probably where most of your flavor lies, but that's the place where most people run from. And then you start to begin to put those two, like, take that whole list and try and put two of them together. It's like, okay, yeah, no, this doesn't work. This is no flavor. This is boring. This is my shady side. This is my petty side. So no, let me try and put something else together. And it's trying to find that combination of words that describes you, but that is also scalable, excuse me, and allows you to connect with the audience based on something deeper and real about you. So, like I say, being empathic, mothers and mother, excuse me, I got a chickle in my throat, but mothers are normally nurturing, and they're very empathic to their children. And my clients, they're my brand babies. I have one of my sweethearts. We have never worked together. But he said, "I'm your only grandson." He said, "They can all be brand babies, but I'm your only grandson." And that's because that's how yeah, that's how deep my brand goes with him. He doesn't need anybody else. He said, "Can't nobody else have that?" And so I can never have any other grandsons as far as he's concerned. So, but I still get to say, you know what? These are all my brand babies, and my brand babies age. They range in age, ethnicity, how much they cuss, not like me, and all of these different things. So I get to own that mothering side of myself that I love so much, but understand that it comes with some violence. And so when you realize this thing and you put that together, and it's like, okay, now how can I make a promise based on this two-word brand? So we talk about value prop or unique selling proposition, whichever one you want to roll out your mouth. How can you tie that to this two-word brand and make it scalable with your business? So in Brandma's house, Brandma has Branded University, and I have Branded Time Out, because some of my babies got to take time out. And so there's all these different layers that it gets to unfold. And people always want to name things after themselves because it's easy, or they want to be remembered personally. I don't give a fuck if y'all never remember me, but you will remember the ghetto country grandmother, because I don't necessarily like being called out in public. If I'm speaking, that's one thing. But if I'm out just hanging out and I'm going to the movies, somebody, "Hey, ghetto country, hey sweetheart," I don't know you from Adam. But I also understand that that's the only way you know me. You don't know me as a selfish, petty, stingy, whoever I am when I'm not being the ghetto country grandmother. And so now, if it was the old me, if it was the Mrs. Mister me, I would put on that persona and I would drop into that role. But now it's like, "Hey, sweetheart." And if they try to talk to me about branding, you know what? Now is not the time. How about we book a chat so we can talk about this later? I cut it off. And some people will say, again, going to that, "Oh, she's such a bitch. Why is she being like that?" Because I get to have a life just like you do. You're out here trying to do your best thing. Why you won't let me do mine? I'm being Phyllis right now, and you don't know Phyllis. So stop being mad and stop being salty because I checked your ass. This is Phyllis time. So yes, that's what will happen. And so these levels and these layers to two-word branding that get to set boundaries around how you want to show up and who you want to show up for. And it gets to give you this opportunity of saying, you know what, this is how we're going to work together. So when people come to work with me, they're not surprised when I say, you know what, no, we're not doing this shit today. And it's said out of love, but don't we still not doing this. There's no violence in it, but people perceive it as violence. That's on you. I know who I am, how I am, and I get to describe who the ghetto country grandmother is. How you perceive it ain't got shit to do with me. So you get to maintain all of that you created in this two-word brand that describes you or how you work or how you want to be perceived. Now, like I say, some people's perception may not match yours, but that's not your business.
That is a very interesting take on how you look at two-word branding. And while I was, doing my research about you and what you do, I came across a clip wherein you said that your personal brand and your business brand are two different things, kind of.
Hmm.
You endorse your business brand and you gave some examples. Would you mind explaining what was that about?
Because me as an empathic bitch, I love using archetypes. So me as the empathic bitch, I am a caregiver outlaw. And if you understand archetypes, you know what that means, and I won't go all into it. We can have a conversation if somebody wants to. But then my business brand, Brandma's House, that brand is more sage rebel, and so the vibe that you get from the two is a little different. But also because whoever comes under or whoever comes under Brandma's House, they get to own that brand. They don't get to own the ghetto country grandma, the personal brand. And it allows you to separate, like, again, separate your who from your do, where you let everybody else amplify the business, but you get to maintain all of this over here, this personal brand that you created. And so when you decide that say you're going to hire, or you're going to collaborate, or you're going to do something that requires more than your voice, you want them to elevate the business, because especially as a business of one, you don't want everybody running up to you just thinking that, oh, she's the only employee of her own business. No, I want you to understand that I'm the voice right now, and I'm sending you over here to get this work. And if you plan to scale and grow, then you want people to amplify the business brand. You want them to call you to come and do the public speaking, facilitate the workshops, do all the things. That's what your voice is for. But the business is over here to do the work. And so as my business scale, I plan to contract with other brand parents, is what I'm talking about. What I'm
That's
calling them.
that's a very interesting take, because most designers and strategists has been recommending business owners to have their personal brand. They don't see them as two different units, they see them as one. But what you're saying is
Hmm.
that you are your personal brand, you're supposed to be the voice of your business. You're the one who represents your business. But when it comes to dealing with your business, it's a different experience altogether. You mean to say that's with the Steve Jobs example? Also, you said the same thing, right? Like Steve Jobs was a personal brand, and he's a personal brand, and he used to always endorse Apple. So that's what you're encouraging people to do. Am I getting that right, or am I getting confused? I don't know.
You're getting it a little wrong, sweetie, because like I said, I am not a brand. Ghetto
Ah,
Country Brand Mother is the brand that I have. And that's one of the reasons why I make that distinction, because people will say that Steve Jobs is a brand. No, Steve Jobs is a person who started a brand. He endorsed it as a person. And so, but when we're talking about personal brands, I don't think there was really any separation between Steve Jobs and what he built. The man ate, slept, and woke up with Apple. But the thing with him is that when Steve Jobs passed away, so did that name, so to speak. Whereas other people, the only one I can really think of is, I don't know how old you guys are in the crowd, but if you think about Dear Abby, there used to be a column called Dear Abby, but once the original Abby passed away, there were multiple Dear Abbeys that came and filled those shoes, because that was a brand that they built. That was a personal brand that they built for that particular column. So if I decided that I wanted to stop being ghetto country, and say my daughter wanted to step into my shoes and she thought she could rock this thing, she would now become the ghetto country grandmother. I would no longer wear that moniker. But it's a business asset, just like your business name is a business asset. And so if it's strong enough and it has name recognition, then it can do its thing. The like Oprah. Oprah has OWN, OWN. It's her name, but the OWN brand is totally different. And so when she has Oprah magazine, she has turned that into a type of brand, but Oprah Winfrey is a person. Does that make sense, Jason?
Yes, yes, she is a
Okay.
person. Yes, yes. I think
Yeah.
I understand. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so just being able to make those distinctions, and like I said, being able to set those boundaries around separating your personal life from your personal brand is very important to me, because I think people should be entitled to their privacy. They should be entitled to their private time. And then if you feel like you are your brand, or you are your business, any opportunity that jumps in your face, you're going to try and jump on it like a tiger on a zebra. What is it? A lion on a zebra, some shit like that. You will not give yourself the opportunity to fully enjoy whatever leisure you're having, because, oh, something perked my ear. He said he needed an accountant, and I'm an accountant. Baby, wait. I know we're supposed to be having breakfast, and this is supposed to be our honeymoon, but I'm gonna give him my business card. No, sit your ass down. If the opportunity presents itself while you're in business mode, that's one thing. But if you're having a life, give yourself the opportunity to enjoy your life, and not try and find opportunities, or think that you have to take advantage of every opportunity that comes across. Because if you're willing to always do that, then you know what does that say about your personal life? And how these things tend to take us over. And like I said, I'm speaking as one who allowed their personal brand and their business brand to dominate their life in a previous business. It's something that gets in us, and we can't understand. Why? You don't understand, sweetie? I'm doing this for us. I'm trying to make us some money. I'm trying to do all the things. I'm trying to make sure we have that third restaurant, because we were on our way to a third restaurant. And I thought I had to do and be all those things. But I understand why people talk about burnout and overwhelming imposter syndrome. It's like, where the fuck is Phyllis? Where's the person that used to sit down and write poetry? Where's the person that used to sit down and knit? I wasn't doing anything but making sure, you know what, we got to go make this money. We got to make this cheddar. And it just takes over so much that I promise you, I tell everybody, I was pimping my husband out like as if he was a $5 hoe. I'm sorry. I don't know how I was doing. I was looking for every TV thing he could do. I was looking for every spokesperson thing that he could do. All of that. I it I was just always on the hunt. So stop laughing, Rose. But it was all of these different things that sucked me in so much that I stopped having a life. And like I said, I got pulled into another direction because I was doing all these things that caused me not to have a life. It was the public speaking, it was this class, it was this executive program, it was this certification, all of this that pulled me away. And it's also why I wrote the book Balance is Bullshit. Because the other thing I had to do once I let that go is, because my daughters, I started, let me see, let's just say somewhere around the time Morgan was 2 years old, Morgan was sitting at a desk across from my desk. And so she's never seen me not work from home, but she's never seen me fully embrace motherhood either. And by that, I mean that I my daughter used to call me mean mom. She still calls me that too. That's why I started posting about it on LinkedIn. Don't worry about it. See, she fussing at me now, talking about when's the last time she called me that. But it was all those moments that I missed because I told my daughter, give me 5 more minutes, give me 5 more minutes. And 5 more minutes would turn into a week or something that I did not spend time with her, because it always turned into 5 more minutes. And I had a business advisor come in, and she had Morgan make a sign for me, and I think she was about 4 or 5 by then. Had Morgan make a sign that said mommy time on one side and work time on the other, so that when that sign flipped, I had to turn it off. And even then I would struggle, and I was like, okay, baby, we got an hour. What we gonna do? And I would put my daughter on more of a timetable than I would my work. And so there's all of these different things that pass me by as far as motherhood. But I had to learn to be okay with all those decisions that I thought was fucked up and was guilt ridden about. It's like, you know what? This is why balance is bullshit, because there was never a time where I stopped being a mom, that I stopped being a wife, that whatever. But I did allow shit to consume me, because my daughter went with me when I started speaking. Guess who was in the car next to me? That chick rolled up with me. Whenever I went to a networking event, sometimes Morgan was right there with me. She learned how to speak to us. She's more comfortable with adults than she is with teenagers. It's kind of sad, but that's her life. She's been brought up as an entrepreneur, but this chick don't want to be one. Well, she don't want to be one right now. But like I said, I know the consumption of being a business and being a brand, and then starting to kind of go back into that when I started my own thing, when I separated myself from my previous business. But now it's you know what? It just is what it is. I'm a workaholic. I'm not a recovering workaholic. I'm a fucking workaholic. I own it. Those are my decisions. My family knows it. My daughter's like, Mom, she knows when to call me and when she needs me. She's 15. My husband knows when to call me for dinner and when to leave me alone. Because the other part of me, the other part of Phyllis, that a lot of people don't realize, is that I'm a loner type. I don't like being around a lot of people. And that includes them too. I love them to pieces. I would die for them. But oh, would y'all leave me alone? Mother's Day is the one day I don't want to be a mother. The rest of y'all can have it. So it's just very important to me that people understand that you get to have a life and you don't have to pull a camera out every time you do something.
That is
Was that a long ass
no,
explanation?
no, it was not. I loved your answer. And because you highlighted the camera piece, and we've been seeing a lot of people producing a lot of content on social media. So,
Mm-hmm.
keeping this two-word brand in mind, how can someone maintain consistency and effectiveness, on various social media platforms while preserving their brand's identity?
The thing that I tell people, what I tell my clients, is to separate your personal and what I call professional. I hate that word professional. But separate your personal and your professional social media accounts, because, like I said, you should be able to keep some things to yourself. And I don't believe everything is content. And I see so much of that. It's like, why am I watching you butter toast on the beach while you fanning your toe polish? It's like, it's just too much. But it's creating those, and this is why Ghetto Country Grandmother has a Instagram, a Twitter, a TikTok. Phyllis doesn't have anything. I have no social media. The only social media account that I have that's just mine is Facebook. That's the only thing I post on and I share with my friends and family. Those are the ones that love me the most. And even though some of them are barbecue people from my past life, that's where I post my personal stuff. I don't need everybody knowing who my husband and my daughter are. I share them very seldom because they did not ask to be props in my business. I don't need to show you who they are unless I'm talking about them. My daughter, if you ever listen to my podcast, that voice you hear at the beginning, that's my daughter, and I paid her to do it. The voice that you hear during the intro and the outro, that's my husband. He's now a voiceover artist. Y'all need to hire him, call a sister. But so I hired him to do those two things for me. And whenever I tell something that's personal but relevant to my business, and it includes them, I ask their permission first. I didn't always do that, but now I make a point. Baby, is it okay if I tell this story? And even though my daughter is my daughter and I'm the parent, I still ask her permission because it's still her life. That it's not I can't just arbitrarily say, oh well, it's mine, I get to share. No. If it includes them, I gotta ask. And so that's another boundary that I set and I respect. They don't mind, they don't give a shit because they think I'm funny as hell half the time when I tell the stories. But you know what? Let me show you some respect and ask you first. So it's all of those type of things. And what, like I say, yes, ghetto country, yes, empathic bitch, but I also believe in respectful rebellion. I'm gonna respect everybody's house, respect mine, because how I act in my house ain't got shit to do with how I act in yours. If you had told me that I was gonna have to rein in all the fucks and shits and everything else that falls out of my mouth, I would have to respect your house.
Uh-huh.
But if you come onto my podcast expecting the same thing, sweetie, you're gonna be sorely out of luck. And so it's so it's stop laughing, Jason.
Okay.
But it for me it's respectful rebellion. I can be rebellious as hell, but I'm always going to respect other people to the best of my ability. And it doesn't matter whether I'm being Phyllis or I'm being the ghetto country grandmother. The only difference is if Phyllis is disrespected, she might turn into a petty bitch instead of an empathic one.
Oh my God, you are so awesome. let's actually take a pause. Let's actually take a break. We will do
Okay.
a sponsor shout out. Why don't you have a sip of water? I am also thirsty. Let's do this, and I have just one more question before we open up the floor for Q&A. And guys, I can promise you I have a very, very exciting question, which I will be asking Phyllis shortly, and that might just blow you away. And just in case, if you have figured out your 2-word branding from whatever we have spoken, if you have not, do not worry. Please reach out to Phyllis. She will guide you how to figure that out. And if you see value in it, please use it. And if you want to just experiment, just be a guinea pig with us, so that we can help you figure out your 2 words. Feel free to participate, in the Q&A session as well. So I'm gonna stop, sip it, and I'm gonna just play the ad. Shout out to Dr. Amanda. She's an incredible individual who's been sponsoring my show for season 4. Her episode is ranking on the top 5 most heard podcast episodes on my show. She speaks about neural coding experience. Amazing individual. What she's offering is next level. I have the sponsor details under the event comments. If you don't know how to figure out event comments, click on the 3 dots, view event details, keep scrolling down. You should be able to see Dr. Amanda's website and all other information. Please book a discovery call with Dr. Amanda to get recoded.
Do you want to find out how your neurology works? Do you want to understand why you do what you do? Then it's really simple. Just check out yourlifeliveit.com, and there you'll find lots of different ways for you to be able to learn more about you, why you do the things you do, and more importantly, how to change those in a really quick, effective way. We call it unthinkable change. The change that you'll experience with neural coding is fast and it lasts. Don't wait anymore. You get 86,400 seconds every day. Once it's gone, it's gone. We are committed and passionate about helping people create unthinkable change in their lives. We've been doing this since 2008 and literally changed over 41,000 problems, deleted them from the neurology, and then installed a solution that works best for the client. Whether you want to work one-on-one or take one of our award-winning neural coding online courses, take action today. The costs of not doing that are just more days wasted. So connect with us. We're here to help. We're here to help you create unthinkable change that's fast and it lasts. It's your life. Live it.
So that was Dr. Amanda. I hope you guys got a synopsis of what she's trying to say. The website is yourlifeliveit.com. Don't struggle. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, you should be able to have it under the event description. So one last question, Phyllis, and we will start with Q&A. So people who are interested in coming up on stage, please start raising your hand right now, and I'll be happy to bring you up. Please do not troll us. If you do troll us, I'm going to report you and block you. So let's move ahead. So the other question which I have is that is there a way how we can measure the success of this two-word brand? Because from a user point of view, Phyllis, have you ever thought this could be confusing for them at some point? Like I have this for this and I have this other word for this. do really do people really care like how many words you have associated? For them, you are your brand, right? Why would you want to distinguish and have like different classification for different things? So two-part question. First of all, do you need to have that many words? Do you need to make it so complicated? The second part of this question I have is that how can you measure the effectiveness of these two words?
Okay. It does not have to be two words. It doesn't have to be along the descriptor vibe. One of my recent clients, he decided to shorten his name because his last name is Griggs, but part of what people call him all the time is Griggsy. And so the personal brand that we're building around Griggsy allows us to make that separation between Griggsy and Steve Griggs. And so it's not so much the two words that mean something, but it's everything that goes behind it as far as his personal touch, the things that he wants to bring to light about his brand and so forth. So it gets to hit different when people address him as Griggsy. He knows that, you know what, I'm in work mode, I'm in landscape mode, and I'm doing all these things. Another one, I can tell you how something that's measurable. Cass Johnson is down there. I don't know if y'all see her. Go point to her right there. Cass Johnson is one of my clients, and her two-word brand is ethical strategist. And when we first started working together, we kept going through all these different things and all these different changes. But when we hit on ethical strategist, oh my God, Cass's face just lit up. It was like, oh, damn. And mind you, Cass does not cuss. She is one of my non-cussing clients, but she just had this big shit-eating grin on her face that she immediately went and made an Instagram reel to tell everybody her tour brand. I think she said she woke up her partner to tell him like, oh, this is the thing. And she said she wore that grin for like 24 hours. But then also, if it's not that serious for you, one of the ways that you can know is that when you say it, it just kind of sits in your spirit. It just feels comfortable and not necessarily familiar, but it feels comfortable enough that, you know what, let me start doing this thing. I can wear this. And this feels a lot more comfortable than me trying to push myself on, because I like I said, being self-conscious, I don't like pushing myself on people, especially doing something in public, being 6'1". Yeah, I can come off a bit aggressive, even though I'm not trying to be. So being the ghetto country grandmother and having something that sits well with you, that you can own and nobody else can take from you, nobody else can wear that. Because the thing about it is, the most unique thing about your business is you. And when you talk to other brand strategists, what they're going to tell you is like, you know what, let's find the gap. Marty Newmeyer is all about, you know what, the brand gap. And I get that. But when we're talking about it as a business of one or a solopreneur or freelancer, however you want to self-describe, is there are no gaps. I'm not trying to fill a gap. I'm trying to be more attractive to people. I'm trying to create brand awareness. I'm trying to say, look at me without saying, look at me. And so if you find those two words, it's like, oh, I can pimp this shit. I can do this all day, every day. That's more success to me than having who is attracted to you. Because trust and believe, once you start wearing this personal brand and it starts to hit a certain way, you're going to attract people that you didn't even want. And then that just means you probably need to refine your message a little more to make sure it hits for the audience that you're trying to attract. But if it sits well with you first, because for me, it's all about making sure my client feels comfortable before I worried about some fucking audience. And the way the brand strategy works is they worry about the audience first. They never give any concern for the founder or the leader of the brand. And that shit pisses me off. So if I'm working with someone, sweetie, I want to make sure you're confident, you're courageous, and you bring out that character. Because if you cannot roll off your tongue how much something is going to cost somebody to work with you, then there's something wrong with that. If it's $1,000, and say it's $1,000. If it's $10,000, say that. If Phyllis is uncomfortable saying $10,000, trust and believe, Ghetto Country Grandmother is not. So it's that's the success. The success lies with you and how comfortable you are with it. Fuck what the world say. That does not matter. So that's how I define the success of it.
That is incredible. Fuck the world. Oh my god. This is super super crazy. I have a lot of incredible people on stage, okay, and I know we have like a time limit for the whole show. So
Mm-hmm.
I just want to ask you one more question.
Okay.
Okay, and this is the one we spoke about. I want you to address it
Oh
because
God.
in the beginning of the show, when we were doing a sound check, you said you had like a whole case study for this. So
Yes.
okay, so guys who are on stage, I am positive you guys are gonna love this. Okay, so my
Oh
question is,
God.
what would be an ideal two-word brand for Batman? The the comic character, the one which you have been seeing on DC. Like if Batman had to come up with two words, what would you say?
Oh God. I'm gonna tell you this one is good because my daughter got it right away. His two-word brand is selfless loner. Okay. And is it's when you talk about a superhero, he is the ultimate selfless loner. And that's the two-word brand I came up with. But because I couldn't just leave it at that, because I know it needs a little more context, the stop laughing. But my husband is a Marvel fan. I am not a comic book fan by any means, but I am. I'm comic book adjacent based on my husband and my daughter, and so I know some things about Batman. I've seen Dark Knight and all that kind of shit. So Selfless Loner just fits. But I'm like, okay, Batman need a whole ass rebrand. And his rebrand came about because his ass is getting old. He can't jump out the car that fast. So he's going to start a consultancy service. So the name of his consultancy service is Strategic Hero Consultancy. It got all his.
Let's process that for a second.
I'm telling you, I went all in on it. It was fun to do. I said, "Oh shit, I might actually put this on my website." And anybody who wants it, I actually turned it into a PDF. I will send it to you. Hit me in the DMs. You ain't got to give me your email and shit. I just drop it to you. But I did is his whole thing. Let me see. His background: Batman is a well-renowned superhero. Has decided to use his expertise in personal development, strategic planning, and justice to start a superhero consultancy. Strategic Heroes Consultancy, led by his personal brand of selfless loner. Batman's goal is to aid superhero startups and individual leagues in achieving their full potential while also promoting social justice and having positive impact on the world. So that's his background. I
That's
can tell
kick
you his
ass.
challenges. I can tell you a strategy. Developed a three-pronged strategy that includes branding, service package development, and marketing. Um, I'm going to tell you his market. Here's his packages: selfless strategy package, which is geared towards personal development and strategic planning; loner hero package, which is geared towards startups and small leads looking to strategic planning and problem solving services. And then there's the big package, which is justice driven hero package, and that's geared towards organizations looking to make a positive impact on their communities or the world. Ha! I told you. I went all in on it. So,
Yeah,
like I
you
said,
went
if you
all.
guys want to see the PDF with the pictures and everything, just DM me and I will send it to you.
If you have the PDF, like if you have like uploaded it onto the cloud or Drive, have it posted on the event comment so that people can download it. Send it to me.
Okay, I will do that.
I
I
will
will
also have
definitely
it
do
on
that.
the show note. But this is really kick ass because you went all in.
I did.
You
It's 10
went.
pages.
All right, all right. So let's I see a lot of people who have joined on stage. Some of my close friends, and some of them are new. I want to make you guys aware that while you're on stage, this conversation is being recorded, and it is gonna be used as a podcast episode. So if you're on stage, you're giving us consent to go ahead, utilize your voice, market the hell out of it, make money off it, etc., etc., etc. So I'm gonna say first of all, thanks to Elmore. He's the first person who joined us on stage as per PTR order. So Elmore, how are you? Thank you so much for joining, and I appreciate you patiently waiting. Do you have a question or a comment?
Hey, thank you, Jason. I'm glad to be here. I got one quick, sweet, simple question. What word should I avoid for two-word branding?
None of them.
None of them?
None
Amen.
of them. Because the thing about it, as long as you can lean into it and make it marketable, it works. I tell people, even if you can make asshole marketable, then work that asshole. So it's just a matter of what fits you and what's scalable within your brand. No words. Stop laughing, Rose. No words are off limits as far as I'm concerned.
Well, right. Well, thanks. I love it.
Lovely, Elmo. Do you have a follow up question, Elmo? We allow follow up questions if you have one.
I probably do, but at the current moment, I can't think. So pass to somebody else.
All right, all right, all right. Passing on it to Wade. Thank you so much, Wade, for joining this conversation. Nice to have you. Do you have a question or a comment?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Yes.
Alrighty. Phyllis, I love Galveston. I was down there during Harvey and helping doing some of some responses and rescue there. So absolutely love it down there. Hope everything is all cleaned up. I haven't been down there since. But my question, and unfortunately, I missed probably the first 25, 30 minutes of the podcast because I just could not get logged in. So if you have mentioned this already before, then I'm sorry.
Okay, that was
Question
my
is-
bad. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I pressed the wrong button.
I was wondering, are you singing them off
No,
the stage?
no. I apologize. Okay, please continue. Wait, I'm so sorry.
I appreciate the celebration there, Jason. You're always so witty. The question is, what has been the greatest experience any of your clients have had as far as from doing the two-word branding? Anything that has just really exploded their business from doing so?
I don't know if she's down here. One of my clients, she's known as the Ratchet Sage, and she's done a couple of amazing things. Her most recent one, I don't know if any of you guys are on Clubhouse. I know some people think Clubhouse is dead, but she is actually one of the faces of Clubhouse right now. And that was something totally unexpected for her that she was not even bucking for, that was not even on her list. And mind you, she, at the time when she got it, she had maybe less than 400 followers. So it was not based on followers, it was based on her genuineness of how she comes on the app and how she represents. But then before that, because she was able to endorse her business in a different way and also to express herself about her brand in a different way, she turned a Facebook disagreement into a $20,000 client. So that was really amazing for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I
You're
don't have
welcome,
a
sweetie.
follow-up, but have yourself a fantastic day and all the best.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Lovely, lovely. And if you do have any of your clients down in the audience, please do not hesitate to come up. I'm not going to ask you any personal questions, but you're welcome to come and share how you felt the experience was. What did you learn about two-word branding? Anybody who is interested in joining the stage, feel free. Okay, and another thing which I also want to highlight, which you guys probably know or don't know, is that I put a lot of effort to build these connections and have such amazing guests on my show. By you coming on stage, you can directly build those connections right away. So all that effort I put in, you can also leverage upon it. So I think it's a good way to be on stage. I would encourage people just to be on stage because I think it helps you to have a better bond with the individual I'm speaking or interviewing about. On that note, I want to say hi to Rose. I see that you're new. Welcome to the Brand Identity Design podcast. How are you? And do you have a question or comment for Phyllis?
Yes. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to Jason and Phyllis. I thoroughly enjoyed your conversation. It was hilarious. I think Phyllis is probably the most interesting person I've ever listened to on LinkedIn events. So my question is, so how do you encompass in a two-word brand uh, when you do so many different things? So I'm a resume writer. I'm also a technical communicator and technical writer and a solopreneur. So I have a lot of things going on. I want to do like personal development, career development, help people with technical documentation. And I don't know how to distill that into a two-word brand. And the other question that I have is, how do you become bold like yourself, Phyllis, with your brand and unapologetic? because I love I love that about you, based on what you have shared. And so I'm kind of like playing it safe with my brand, and I want to be more bold. So those are my
Okay.
questions.
All right. So first off, the first one you asked me about having all the hyphens and hyphenations, and how do you bring that under one umbrella? The thing that you want to do is not so much as taking away the hyphens, but it's about what's forward facing. So whatever either is going to make you the most money, whichever one is most profitable to get people in the door, or the one that you're most passionate about, that's the one that you want to build your two-word brand off of. And then once you get people coming through the door, then you tell them about the other things if they're applicable. You don't want to put everything out there in front of you, because the more options you give someone, the more confusing it becomes for them, and the more they have to think about, like, what the hell am I going to her for? But if you put that most prolific thing, like I said, whatever you want to be famous for, if you put that out there on Fresh Street, like I said, you can have all the other shit in parentheses later on as you have the conversation. But whatever is the most prevalent that's going to bring them to the door, that's what you want to highlight the most. And I would think that personal development would be the one, because all the other things that you talked about as far as resume writing and all the other things can fall up under that. So I would find something to our brand that encompasses certain things that hits that, but it falls under professional development or personal development. I'm sorry. Does that seem okay for you?
Yeah, that sounds good.
And as far as the boldness, sweetheart, it's not so much boldness as it is courage for me. It's like doing it afraid. I promise you, anytime I get in front of people and start talking, I have to get over my jitters or nervousness or anxiety. It's like, fuck it, what they gonna do? Y'all can't beat me up, so what you gonna do? But I think but I think the biggest part is I think we fear the judgment. And you have to be okay with people judging you. I tell people, if you don't pay my bills or provide my meals, I don't give a fuck what you say.
I love
So
it.
that's the
Thank you so
thing.
much.
If they're not putting any money in your pocket, who gives a rat's ass?
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome,
Love
sweetheart.
it.
Thank you so much, Rose. And I just want to let you know that I had to mute you in between because since we are recording, it echoes when you're off mute. So I'm so sorry I didn't tell you while I was doing it. I apologize for that. So, please continue to be on stage. If you have time, we're going to do this rapid fire question round and maybe everybody can participate. I want to say hi to Mary. Thank you so much for joining the stage. Welcome to the Brand Identity Design Podcast, 93rd episode, doing LinkedIn audio. Love it. Okay. And how are you? And do you have a question or a comment?
Well, congratulations, Jason. And in a minute, you'll have to tell us where to find you, like on Spotify, so we can listen to your podcast too. Um, so my thought is, so I'm trying to still figure out exactly what I'm offering. I'm a really good engager. I'm a really good networker, connector. But my question is, so I'm also incorporating storytelling. I have a few hashtags I've started, like Joy Seeds, which is one that everybody has, but mine is World Porch Project and Appalachian Embers. So those are my two like big things. Because I'm gonna, it's my big goal is utilize the customer's perspective to then take it to a company and say, here's your customer story. Tell it from their story and their perspective. So whittling all that down, I'm not sure how to make that like a 2-word brand. The Appalachian Embers thing is part of like the storytelling piece. It's not connected to the marketing consulting. I've labeled myself a milestone achievement consultant, but people are like, what does that mean? So can you help with that?
Sweetie, I think you already have your two-word brand. The Appalachian. See, I can't even say it the way you say it. The Appalachian. Fuck. Say the damn
Nobody
thing.
What
can,
was
so
it?
it's okay. Appalachian. Appalachian.
Appalachian
Appalachian.
embers. I think that's it, because it speaks to that country twang I hear in your voice. That sounds so lovely to me. Because my mother, when I say country mom, my mom and them from Texas. Seriously, but
Oh,
that whole thing and the embers that start stories, sweetie. I think you have a perfect one right there. It's just a matter of embracing the story that goes around it. The embers that spark a story within the client. Oh, sweetie, you can work and pimp that shit all day long.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Do you have a follow up question by any chance before we move on?
Can you give us the podcast name, Jason?
I have DM'd you the podcast details. The name of the podcast is Brand Identity Design. Same as my profession. Very simple. It has my beautiful picture in black and white. Yeah, I've sent you the details, Mary. So if you have any more questions, please do not hesitate to ask. In the meantime, I see we have Michelle on stage. Michelle, welcome. Thank you so much for your patience. Do you have a question or a comment?
Oh my God, thank you, Jason. And I just have to tell you, you bring on the absolute best guests ever. Phyllis, I've been sitting here at the hair salon and I'm like cracking up. Like, honestly, I'm like peeing my freaking pants of the guests. Oh my God, wait, this is going on a podcast and I'm like saying this shit. Okay, anyway, Phyllis, I adore you. And Jason,
You
painting
lost?
me with an energy. I do have a question. So I'm a Pinterest strategist. I make gemstone jewelry, all that good stuff. I'm on LinkedIn for my Pinterest, not so much my gemstones. I can see other people's shit, but I cannot see my own. What I tell you,
Yeah.
I have redone my banner and my tagline 30 times this morning. I was
Oh
sitting there like
wow.
listening to you guys and all this, and I'm sitting in Canva and I'm redoing it. Any suggestions at all? I cannot see my own business. I mean, I can do my own business. I can't visually see it, but I can see others.
Okay, so what is it that you want to promote? Are you wanting to promote it yourself as a Pinterest strategist, or do you want to promote your jewelry, or do you want to
No,
separate the
no,
two?
no, Pinterest strategist. My jewelry I got on other fun platforms like Clapper and all that. So I want to use
Okay, all right.
LinkedIn for the Pinterest.
Um, to kind of bring the two together, I would go with something like Pin Gem, as in GEM. It kind of speaks to your love of jewelry, but then also the gems that you post within Pinterest, and then just being able to build something around that. That's just the simple one that comes to the top of mind. I would have the thing about the way I do two-word branding, I would have to sit down and listen to you and know your story a little deeper. But just top of mind, knowing that that's what you do, and then also knowing what you love, pin gem would be my thing. And then so the gems that you pin within Pinterest become this whole ass situation of bling or whatever. But it's in how you spin the story once you start telling it.
Okay, I can go with that because I'm
Mm,
known everywhere else as the Gemstone Mama. That's how I
okay.
tie.
But do
That's how
you
I
do you want to be
tie
known as a
in.
gemstone mama?
No, I
Or is
want to be
that
known as
yeah.
no, no. I want to be the Pinterest strategist
So then
on
when you
LinkedIn.
when you're being the Pinterest strategist, if you talk about pin gems, the way that you explain Pinterest is by using jewelry analogy.
Okay, I can take it. Thank you.
Okay? All right.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome, Michelle. Always lovely to have you. Do you have a follow-up question by any chance?
No, just you guys are awesome. That's it.
You are
Thank you, Miss
awesome too.
Michelle.
You are awesome too, Michelle. And if you can't figure out like what to keep it as a cover page for your profile, just do what I do. Like, just keep it blank. Like, who gives a shit? Like, it's just simple. Like, keep it blank.
Make it sparkle.
I love that. Just keep it plain. Who gives a shit? Can that be my tagline? Keep it plain. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
I want to welcome the one and only Lachelle Adkins, America's Supermom. How are you? So nice to see you after a very, very long time. And I hope you're
I,
available.
I well, it's good to see you too. I was telling Mary right before this call that you would FaceTime me through India in that traffic. Okay, so we had a little battle. But I am loving the conversation. I'm here to support, but definitely resonate with what Phyllis said about doing it scared. That is the truth. You can only get courage by just getting out there and doing it. So I have really loved it. I think another thing she said is about letting go of the judgment because you can't control that. People are going to have uh, positive or negative. Everybody has a different perspective. So I'm here taking notes. Okay. So back to you guys.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, America Supermom. I appreciate you being here. Now, just out of curiosity, if you had to come up with a two-word brand for yourself, would you switch from America's Supermom to something else?
I gotta love America's Supermom. It has really, um, I don't know, my kids embrace it. It really was a winner. I didn't think about it at first. It was something I still continue to grow into, but it has so many meanings, not just from having 15 kids, but I was raised where I felt I had to choose between a career and a business. And now I feel like it's grown to help me define my own American dream. And so that's showing that I can be a business owner and a good mom at the same time. So, yeah, I wouldn't trade it.
Well, thank you so much. I want to welcome Ray Ray to the stage. Ray Ray is again a close friend of mine, and she's been a long-term supporter of the show right from day one beginning. So nice to have you on stage, Ray Ray. How are you? And do you have a question, or would you like
I'm
to
doing
contribute?
great. I'm doing great, and thank you so much. And happy Win Wednesday, Jason. And thank you for always recognizing me. And Phyllis, I heard you on YouTube with oh
Chris,
my God, with I
Chris
forgot his
Dow.
name. Yeah, Chris Doe. I thought that was fabulous. I thought you were really good.
Thank you,
You
sweetheart.
I was really impressed. I love the way you boss your husband around a little bit too. I love that. I love women that are bossy like men. I like that. I think the world needs to flip and see the change because women, I think, are very excellent at leadership. We never get the opportunity, but, thank God for people like your husband that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
fight you and go along
Yep.
with you, makes it more, embraces the, entrepreneur womanship. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In a way.
Yeah. I tell people I may be my own person, but he's still the man of the house. I ain't twisted. So it don't make me
I,
no never
I
mind. It don't
admire
stop
that he
nothing.
allows you though,
Yeah.
like you'll work as a team and he allows you to do your thing, and that's beautiful. I think a lot of men need to listen to women for a change.
You tell him, Miss Rachel.
Yeah, so I have a client, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
because I do a lot of different things. I'm still working on my website and stuff. So I decided just to make sure I put my portfolio up and put all the things that I do up. So I'm still working on it, kind of like. But in the meantime, I always talk. I'm always selling. So I working with a vendor. He does street vending, and he had this complicated name. And after listening to you and Chris Doe getting it down, I said, look, yo, you can't go 3 words. If you want to, I always think that if you have a long name, it's fine, but use the initials and then explain it and then get the customer involved with it. But you can't come online with no long name. People are like 1, 2, 3, 4, and they done. That's it. Am I right or wrong? I'm just,
No, I think
testing
you're
it.
totally right. I think you're totally right. People try to complicate things that don't need to be complicated. And the thing that you have to understand about branding and marketing is that people kind of make decisions based on first impressions. They just don't realize they've done it. And it's like when we go out and we buy shit, we've already made the decision to buy it. We just try to make it make sense once we spend the money. So it's if he's making people think too hard about coming to him because they can't even say the name of what it is that he the name of the company, then it begins to turn them off already. So it's just a matter of who wants to do the work to say the fucking name.
It's three names. And I said, I said it's nice, it's suave, but look how it gave him an example. I said, look how fast you look through your phone. If you look in 15 seconds, how you expect somebody else to look at your stuff? You're not the world's greatest, the best, and the baddest. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
So I just threw some names at him and he still didn't look at them. But in any event, I have him thinking about it. You know what I mean? So I'm not. I might build his website and I might not, because sometimes, working with people, some people overcomplicate it, and it's really simple.
Yeah, it really is. And sometimes you just can't fight them on it. There are just certain things that are just not worth the fight. You just got to make it work for your client, and that's all. That's the best you can do.
Yeah, I thank you so much for your entrepreneur women spirit. I think it's great that people like you are shown showcase, because some people, they don't get it. They don't get the it's another person I admire. I think it's Bosa St. John's. Yeah, I like Bosa St. John's too,
Oh
because
yeah, I love her.
yeah, she's really a powerful woman too, but she also pays attention to detail, and I love her stories and how she tells her stories. And I think it's not always necessarily the branding. I think it depends on your story, open, middle, and close. And I think that is your brand. And no matter what you do, that's what you're selling.
That is incredible. Thank you so much, Ray Ray, for being a part of today's conversation. I really, really appreciate it, and really appreciate your friendship as well. She's one of those few individuals who really stood by me when times were a little tough and I was not able to cope up with things, especially with podcasting and my business. So thank you so much. I just want to be vocal about that. And I see Lakeisha Phillips, who just joined our conversation, the last speaker. So, Lakeisha, do you have a question? First of all, welcome you. To welcome you to the podcast. Do you have a question, or would you like to contribute to this conversation?
Yes, thank you, Jason. Hello, everybody. I have a, I guess, comment. Um, I really kind of just want to tell Phyllis how confirming it's been to listen to everything that she has had to say about how she came to be, the whole concept and idea, the evolution coming from, uh, you know, workaholic, I guess, space, and not really clearly embracing it to all the way fully embracing it. But more importantly, the confirmation I'm getting now is I've been doing two-word branding without knowing it. And this has been the theme of my life. I'll do things from a very intuitive space just because it feels right or feels righteous to me. And then later, years and years later, I will learn something that says, yeah, that's a good way to go about that. So in 2016, I started a brand with my daughter, all about basically me coming out of the closet with my depression and my anxiety and stopping myself from being closeted with my healing and just coming out with it because I started seeing those same symptoms in her and I wanted to help her. So I needed to put the oxygen mask on.
Yeah.
And we created Bella Perry, which means beautiful wanderer. And that was at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. So I was going to be wandering into all types of therapeutic modalities and just spaces and everything I could to get better and well. And then beautiful was because I didn't feel beautiful and I wanted something that consistently reminded me and her that we were beautiful, even within the mess, even within the mental mess we were in. Um, Later, I've just continued that. I started creating a mental health planner, and that's called Braveheart. I started creating what I wanted to be a gift guide because people often buy gifts for people who have mental illnesses and they're not really thinking about that person's usage and what's really important to them or what they can prioritize. And that's called the conscious giver. Um, I have now the campaign whisperer on my headline in LinkedIn. I've literally been following your your program without knowing it. So my question is, does that make me an honorary brand baby? I'm just wondering.
That was a good one.
Yes, Miss Lakeisha, you could be an honorary brand baby because I
I
understand
will
your
wear that with
story.
pride. Don't be surprised if that ends up in my LinkedIn, like real
That's
talk.
okay. That's okay. Because let me tell you about your story. I had my one and only daughter when I was 42.
Mhm,
And I had a lot of demons left over from when I talk about being self-conscious. One of the things of my earlier life, I tell people all the time, I'm very transparent. And I had a problem with Dick, Dick, and Dick because Tom and Harry were busy. And it's because because I did not deem myself worthy enough to respect my own body. And so the book I wrote was That Damn Girl Stuff. And I wrote it for my daughter because we started having conversations about sex when she was 9 years old because she was starting to bud. And these kids live in a digital age, but we lived in an age where we had to find out who the Chester molesters were on our own. And so
Yes.
having those conversations and so forth at a very early age, me and my daughter talk about everything. She's going through the teenage phase now where her friends are more important, and I get that, but she still comes to me with the important stuff. So I get having that conversation with our children, especially with our daughters. My
Yes.
daughter was the first person that I actually told the truth to about my rape. I had never told the truth in all the 20 years or so before I had her. From the
Wow.
time until then, because the thing that I wanted to make her aware of is like, this does not get to define me. I'm not a victim or a survivor. It just is.
Yes.
So
Yes.
trust and believe, baby. You are an honorary brand, baby. So you go ahead and wear it proudly.
I love that so much. My daughter and I's podcast is The Beauty Between Me and You because of that kind of thing right there. Like we have so many differences in obviously, with different generations, and then we
Yeah.
have differences in the way that we process things, but our stories are what make us beautiful in the sense of how we share, she really trusts me. I created that safe space for her. I
Yeah.
talk to her like yourself. I've talked to her about things I've never told anyone on this earth, that I've been through, that I had an attempted rape, and that this is how it happened. This is what I felt like after, so that if she ever found herself in these spaces, I know that shame that immediately kicks in
Yes.
and
Yes.
causes you to be secretive and think that someone's going to think whatever about you so you don't say it.
Yep.
And I wanted to make sure that I broke mm, those kinds of ways and mannerisms that my mother, my grandmother, everything was swept under the rug. No one really talks about these things because blah blah blah. I wanted to like crash that whole chain. And so thank you so much for sharing.
You're
I
so
really
welcome. We're sorry for hijacking for a minute, Jason. That
No,
just had to
that's
be a
okay.
bonding moment.
thank you. Thank you so
Please
much.
don't apologize,
Yeah,
Lucretia. I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing those things which are very personal to you. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that, and thank you so much for those compliments to Phyllis, because I think you definitely are a brand baby, and you have figured out those two words, which is super super cool. And I did hear somebody who was speaking
it
about.
was me,
Uh,
Ray Ray.
oh, awesome, Ray. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Phyllis, I want to give you two names, and Miss Phyllis, which names would you go with? I wanted to do a podcast, and
Hmm.
I was either going to go with being, because I'm dyslexic, what it means to be dyslexic in the world that's not, something like that. And then I was going to go with, I just heard this word just blew me away, and a lot of people don't know what it means. It's called polymath people.
Yes.
And I was thinking about which one would you choose overall. I did kind of research the dyslexic one, and it's only two podcasts. It's about dyslexia. And I just wanted to do a once a week show, just explain what it means. Not really on a scientific, just factual
But
things that I do
yeah,
every
what it
day.
is to be a person with dyslexia kind of vibe.
Right. Yeah. Kind of
Yeah.
like, because Damien John is Barbara on the Shark Tank. Kevin O'Leary is, Whoopi Goldberg,
Yeah.
Tom Cruise. A lot of people are, but people, it's something that you cannot see. So maybe the name
Yeah.
of the show should be something you cannot see, dyslexia.
I would just go with something you cannot see, and then put the dyslexia in the description. I would expand on it in the description because the part of what you cannot see kind of captures people, and it makes them curious. And so then when they get to read the description about the unseen parts of dyslexia, and you get to explain that and explore that every week, again, you create this kind of curiosity around what is she going to say, what is she going to talk about that hasn't already been said. And it's like you get to highlight the unseen of something, and you get to keep that mystery about it. So I would lean more into that. But then also, like I said, if it's going to be a podcast, then kind of leaning into it with your personal brand. Like I say, the things that people try to hide the most in, and I'm not saying you're hiding or being shameful, but it's usually the thing that people actually want to be brought out into the open. I'm not talking about all your kinky shit. I don't care about that. But there are just certain conversations that need to be had, and they need to be had in a voice that is not predominantly white male. So I definitely say do your thing.
Yeah, because I heard, because I listened to, I'm sure you've heard of him, James Altucher, and it was a couple on his show, and I always listen to him because he's a little bit more going towards the future. So those are the people I deal with, the people that are on like this like choo-choo train that's moving. You know,
Hmm.
they probably they can explain more AIs before they came out. Those are the people I usually most of the time follow. So one is James Altucher. The other one is Gary Vaynerchuk. You know, those are people. But it was a couple on his show that blew me away, and all they do is talk about dinosaurs. They don't talk about
Wow.
nothing else but dinosaurs because their market is so niche and to the point that it's either you like dinosaurs or you
You
don't.
don't. There you go. There you go.
Lovely, lovely. I appreciate this very, very much. Thank you so much. I want to quickly, do this rapid fire thing. So let me play that sound effect quickly. And we have just around 7 minutes, so we would be going very, very fast with rapid fire questions. I really want to know this, Phyllis, from you.
Okay.
Have you ever had to physically remove a customer from one of your restaurants? And if so, why did they deserve?
Uh, physically,
Yep.
no. But
No?
all up in their face, hell yeah. Because I'm going to need you to get the fuck up out of here. It didn't come to blows, but trust and believe I was ready for it.
All right, all right, all right. Okay, next question, next question. Okay, we want to be quick, okay? If you could
Okay.
smoke one brand of cigar for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Tabak. Tabak. I love those. I love the sweet tip. I love
Okay,
the
I'm just gonna write
aroma.
it down. What was that? T-A?
Okay. Tabak. Tabak.
Mm,
I think I'm
lovely.
saying it right.
All right, all right. One last question. Which branding buzzword do you think is so overused that it should be banned forever?
Authentic.
All right, all right, all right. I wish I had time to ask this similar question to everybody else on stage, but we would be wrapping things up. So, Phyllis, let me give you the opportunity to promote your business. Do you have any events, promotion, or anything you like to share with my listeners on
Oh
Spotify,
my goodness.
LinkedIn, Apple, and other platforms?
Let's see what I have coming up. I do a Brandma's open house every other month. I only let in 30 people only because I want to make sure I can see everybody. But that is just a free event behind the scenes. We bring our smoke, we bring our buzz, whatever you're drinking, whatever you're smoking. I don't give a rat's ass. It's not recorded. It's not time for you to take notes. It's time for you to sit back with other solopreneurs. It's some of my fam that's in there. Cass might be in there. Taji will be in there. That's another one of my new clients down there. I don't know if he's gone yet, but Taji will be in there. And then even strangers are in there. Some people just come, we hang out, we talk shit about being a business of one and all of that kind of stuff. That's coming up at the end of the month. I think that's on the 31st. I have a two-word branding masterclass coming up on the 24th. And like I say, you can always go to my website and download the two-word branding kit and do it yourself. If I do it for you, if we sit down and do a collaboration on it, I'm gonna tell y'all, it's $2,500. That's just it. It's one session, 2 words, 3 strategies. That's what you get. One, two, three. But if you want to go to the master class, that's only $197. It's in a group of people. We try and pull out your 2 word brand and get it pushing that way. If you want to do it yourself, like I said, go download the 2 word branding kit, fill it out to the best of your ability, and see how you can pimp that thing. So those are the things I have coming up. I think that's it. Outside of that, I'm good. I have Brandy University. I only let 10 people in per year. I have an opening coming up, I think mid-May or June. I have a client going out. So I have an opening coming up for that. But I also created what I call a low and slow track. It's if you want to know about it, just ask me. I ain't gonna take up all the time explaining all that shit. But I do Branded University, Branded Timeout. Branded Timeout is a 13-week program where we sit down, we deep dive and get very intensive with your brand. We do it one-on-one because we need to make sure that your shit is out here and you coming correct. That's the 13 weeks. Branded University is actually 9 to 12 months long. We spend it all together: content strategy, marketing strategy, brand strategy, getting all your shit together. So you're not out here twisting in the wind by yourself, and you know you got somebody that's there standing 10 toes down with you as you fuck up and get up. So that's what I got, Jason.
Love that. The website is Brandma, BRANDMASHOUSE. Do not struggle if you don't have a pen or paper handy. It's all mentioned under the event comments. The event comments section is very, very important because it has all crucial and insightful information. If you are on Spotify, Apple, or other podcasting platforms, you should be able to find it under the description, not event description, show description, even if it's on YouTube. So I want to personally thank you, Phyllis, for giving me the opportunity to have you on, on my podcast in such a short duration. And trust me, I have never ever laughed so much on a podcast. And you're such a fun person to be around, and so much valuable insights I have received today. So I want to thank you personally. Whatever that beating was, which I heard in the background.
That was my daughter trying to kill a spider. I was sorry. I was trying to catch the mute.
Yeah. So I want to thank you. Yeah. And if I were to ask you, like, if you want,
I was like, oh.
if you
I
want,
thought she was doing her.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you back there. I was just going to say that if you could leave our listeners with one thing they can take away from this whole conversation we had on this podcast, what would that be?
Be true to you. Before you go out here trying to sell something, do something, be true to you first. And that's the only way that I think you can put your best face forward and your best brand forward. Stop trying to people please. Please you first, and everything else will work out. I promise.
Awesome. I really love that. Thank you so much for being a lovely guest, an incredible guest on my show. I want to quickly make a quick announcement of next week's show, which is going to be May 3rd, 2023 at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have a very, very exclusive guest. His name is Marshall Goldsmith, which I've been communicating with you all from the past few weeks. We would be doing a LinkedIn audio as well as video and even a YouTube video. So you can watch us on video or you can just hear the audio version of it. This is also mentioned under the event notes, next week's show details. That would be the title. He's the #1 leadership coach in the world from the past 10 years. He's also a part of the Thinkers 50 Hall of Fame, and he's also the only 2-time #1 leadership thinker in the world and #1 executive coach as well. He has written over 51 books. He's an amazing guy, highly influential individual. We're going to be having a topic on overcoming classic challenges faced by successful entrepreneurs. So we've been discussing about bootstrapping and starting up your business. He's going to speak about what happens when you become successful. I think that's an interesting topic. So I want to personally thank each and every one who has joined this conversation and made this podcast a huge success. I love you all. Thank you so much. All the 15 individuals who are still paying attention and listening to us. Thank you, Sharon, Cass, Gary, Fulay, Kim, Cadians, Gary, Margaret, and everybody else, and even my lovely friend from Australia, Thomas. You take care of yourself. You have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Stay awesome. Thank you, Jason.